When it comes to all-time movie indulgences, nothing beats this one.
The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years.
The Sound of Music, the 1965 musical, was based on the Broadway production and won 5 Oscars. It's still one of the most popular movies of all time. Showbiz caught up with Nicholas Hammond, who played Friedrich von Trapp.
Nicholas, it is so wonderful to meet you. You have no idea. I'm really trying my best not to gush.
Oh, gush away, Georgia, please.
You must have had people throughout your life, or ever since filming that amazing movie, desperate to talk to you about and wanting to know everything.
Well, one of the best things about the 45 years since we've made it is that the feedback from people who have seen it, which is just such a joy for all of us. Whenever I see the others who played my brothers and sisters, or Julie Andrews, or Christopher Plummer, we all say that how lucky we were. In fact, one of the last things Julie said to me when I saw her in November was she said, "Weren't we lucky?" Because we've had a lifetime of people reacting with such pleasure and gratitude, and always with interesting stories of their own about how the film had a personal effect on their life, or how they saw it at a time in their life that was significant. So we just feel really grateful that we were a part of it.
You must toss around theories as to why it was so powerful, why it had such an impact.
And you're right, and there are as many theories as there are people. My personal one is just the issue of love in the film. I think that's something that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what nationality you are, no matter what country you live in, I don't think there's anybody in the world that won't respond to a story about children who love their parents, a mother who loves a husband, a young woman who is falling in love for the first time with a young man, and those kind of fundamental themes, and the love of country.
A deer, a female deer, a drop of golden sun, a name I call myself,
The film was an enormous success, in fact 3rd behind Gone with the Wind and Star Wars on a list of all-time box office hits. Hard to imagine, though, that there were fears it was going to be a flop. 20th Century Fox was nervous, not helped by Christopher Plummer. The actor who played Georg von Trapp was vocal about his opinion. The story was sentimental rubbish.
Was he like that? Was he a grumpy old...
It was a bit of an act, I think. I think it was a bit of an act. He was a little bit on the grumpy side. He now says, he said so in print in his own book, and he said it publicly, he said it personally to all of us not long ago, that he thinks he behaved a bit badly. He thinks he was a bit up himself and overconfident, and he thought he was this classical Shakespeare actor and that this was all beneath him. And now, of course, as time's gone by, he just says, what an ass I was to have that attitude, particularly when he had Julie there, who was the exact opposite. I mean, Julie could not have been more wonderful, professional, hardworking. I mean, she was the perfect example for us children to have of the way a star should behave. Her behavior was immaculate and has been. She's like the Queen. Yeah. She never puts a foot wrong, Julie.
Now, when anything bothers me and I'm feeling unhappy, I just try and think of nice things.
What kind of things?
Oh, well, let me see. Nice things. Daffodils. Green meadows. Skies full of stars. Raindrops on roses. And whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
What are your memories of being on set? Was it a fun time?
It was. It was interesting because, yes, it was fun. We had a lot of fun, but it was not play. And the only times the director would ever speak a little bit sharply to us, which only happened once or twice, is when some of the children, particularly the younger ones, would forget that this is a job you're here to do. You're not here to play. You're not here to muck around. You're here to know your lines, know the dance steps, know the songs, turn up, and when I say action, be ready to do it and do it flawlessly. And as I say, he only had to remind people of that once or twice, because we did have great fun. I mean,
and it was also a long period.
It was almost a year.
I'm interested reading.
Yeah.
Some of the little girls, their teeth fell out.
Teeth fell out.
Some put on weight.
I grew a great deal. I grew from 5'3" to 5'9", so 6 inches.
So Heather was actually taller than you.
Heather and Charmian were both taller than me at the beginning of the film, and they were both shorter than me at the end. So the lifts in everybody's shoes are constantly being readjusted. No, I mean, you know, a year in the life of a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old is a long time. So you do slightly forget that it is just a movie. It just becomes your life. You just turn up every day at the studio. Because whether we were called that day to film, which we usually were, but even if we weren't, we had to go to school, and we had to have dance rehearsal, we had to have singing rehearsal, we had a vocal coach, you know, to practice the lines with. So every
You had to have your hair bleached.
I had to have my hair bleached. My hair was chestnut brown one day and your color the next.
While the 7 on-screen Von Trapp children are still close, it was only months ago they were reunited as a group, along with Christopher Plummer and Julie Andrews, for the first time since the movie's wrap party. They appeared on Oprah. Nicholas admits it was emotional.
It was. I mean, weirdly enough for us, I think, because at that point, we'd had a very emotional dinner the night before of just the 9 of us, just Julie and Christopher and the 7 of us. So we'd kind of gotten that out of our system before we came in to do Oprah. But then I think we were sort of slightly taken by surprise by the numbers of people in the audience. And also when we weren't expecting her to have all those clips of people, some very well known, some not well known. I mean, she had a clip of a deaf lady who had had a cochlear implant, who said that the first sound she ever heard was Julie singing The Sound of Music. Well, we were all backstage with floods of tears coming down our faces, you know, because we thought, my God, you know, that's when it hits you what the impact of this film has had on so many lives. And Rosie O'Donnell saying that this was the fantasy family she grew up wishing she'd had, you know. That had a great impact on all of us.
You've spoken about how close you still are to the other kids from the film. I think you're also writing a book.
We are writing a book. Well, I should say we're putting together a book. Yes, we've each written a chapter on what the film has meant to us and what it was like for us to make the film, and also what our lives have been like since. But then we've done a lot of chapters with another writer about basically trying to answer all the questions we've been asked over the last 45 years. You know, what's Julie Andrews like? What was the rehearsal like? What was recording the songs? What was it like in Salzburg? What was it like living on location? So there are chapters, and then there's one on what are the real Von Trapps like, and what has their story been? And then we've added all our stuff. You know, we've got scrapbooks full of stuff. We've got our original scripts, and we've got home movies and photographs, and the girls kept diaries and letters we wrote home to our families. Today I'm in Mirabelle Gardens and we're doing a song called Do, Re, Mi, you know. And you read that now and you think, that was some 6-year-old little girl writing to her, Dear Daddy, I'm singing a song today called Do, Re, Mi. So we've got all those facsimiles of all those pages. So the people who get the book, in a way, it's kind of our gift back to all the people that have wanted to know all this. And we thought, why don't we just put all our stuff in one big box, give it to a publisher, and say, make a book.
As for those behind-the-scenes stories, Nicholas has plenty. While Charmaine Carr, who played Liesl, was making dreamy eyes at Christopher Plummer, he had a secret crush on her.
I did. I sort of still do. She was so gorgeous. She was so, I mean, I think there's still a couple of shots in the film where I just can't take my eyes off her. She is just the most beautiful girl.
I am 16, going on 17, innocent as a rose. Bachelor dandies, drinkers of brandies, what do I know of those?
That scene was Charmaine's starring moment in the film. Nicholas reveals shooting it was dramatic.
They forgot to put, you know, the rubber stuff on the soles to stop them. And while she was dancing, 16 going on 17, she slipped off the bench and her foot went through the gazebo glass, and it sliced, I mean, it could have sliced her Achilles heel tendon, but it sliced her very badly. They just bandaged her up, shot her full of code, what's it called? Yeah, something like that. She got right back up and finished. But if you look, there's a little trivia point. The DVD, the Blu-ray, you will really see this because you see every detail. She's actually wearing an ace bandage on her ankle underneath her stockings.
5-year-old Kim Karath, meantime, played Gretel. She almost drowned in a scene where the children and Julie Andrews fall out of a boat. Julie was supposed to hold her, but they fell out on opposite sides.
And the crew on the set is like looking at the lake and they're all going, "Where's Kim? There's no Kim." And Julie came around like going, "I'm sorry, and at which point like 3 people had to go tearing into the lake and she was down on the bottom of the lake.
Unbelievable.
And they had to bring her up. These days, can you imagine?
And then there's the blooper that still has Nicholas cringing every time he sees the film.
When she's going, do, mi, so, re, fa, fa, and I'm la. And I'm la. And the first time we all do it, we're all supposed to point at each other. And the second time we do it, we're just supposed to say the note and not sing. And if you look at the film, the only person who points at himself is the boy singing la the second time. So I just look away.
45 years on and fans can now revisit the movie on DVD and Blu-ray with more detail than ever before.
Well, what the Blu-ray does that the movie has and more is that because technology is so amazing now, they've been able to go back to the original print of the film, digitize it so that the sharpness and clarity is exponentially better than what anybody would have ever seen, certainly in the last 20 or 30 years, from seeing a print of a film or indeed even the DVD. And then the sound quality now with what they can do. So it's literally like it is in your living room. It is like a total immersed experience of extraordinary clarity of every single detail in every shot and every instrument in that 90-piece orchestra playing on every song.
It also contains a whole lot of extras for, well, let's face it, tragic fans, including a sing-along. All the favourites from a film that will forever remain one of the classics of all time.
A doe, a deer, a female deer, hooray, a drop of